Amazing so far. Almost strict upgrades.
Yeah, Pawn and Deft, as you say, almost strict upgrades. They've definitely slotted in very well. Having Pawn in the mid lane gives them some engage opportunities because, of course, the previous mid laner was more of a wave clear, more of a safe laner. Pawn loves to pick up that fizz and play aggressive. They're getting picks from that Pawn. But I mean, the interesting thing to me is the biggest difference in this team from the one we saw at Worlds is Clearlove. He's actually really leveled up his play, gone from being that passive jungler known to really let the game be played around him and then being useful in a team fight. No, this is a Clearlove who's been aggressive, who's been on point. We saw him dismantle Pokemon from IG and really start the win in that series on Friday. I wouldn't be expected to see Clearlove paying real close attention to HYY this series.
Yeah, we'll have to see that the draft has begun here. Royal going to start on the blue side here for game one. They banned up Lissandra, Rumble, and Rek'Sai. EDG on the red side here for this first game. They're going with Thresh, Rengar, and one more to go as well.
Yeah, so it's interesting bans coming through. Of course, it's going to be very strong champions, whatever happens here. I expect Gnar to be a really contested pick in this series just because both Korol and Korol have gone massive on that champion. Korol especially has stepped up so much alongside Clearlove since his world performance. It's become a real carry top. See, the Kassadin's available, and that's almost been an auto-lock in the LPL this season. But giving Gnar to Korol, that is not something I want to do.
No, and Cola's going to take it instead, so Korol will get away from that champion, which, as you said, he's looked amazing. Just from week one, man has destroyed people on Gnar, but that does leave two very strong picks available for EDG, and they snapped them up immediately. Janna and Kassadin already there.
No thought whatsoever needed to be put into those. Such a strong duo, and of course that leaves Jarvan available. Look at these top meta picks just slipping through and being slapped up. There's Sivir as well. I mean, it's all the strongest champions available in this patch. That flex pick in Kassadin. Pawn is a wonderful Kassadin player. I'm sure Korol has added it to his champion pool. I'm sure he's just as strong as that as well. The options available here now. The AD carry choice for Deft is an interesting one. Of course, he was the first person to bring Lucian onto the competitive scene. We've only seen one Lucian so far in the LPL, but there's so many different flavors. His previous pick against Sivir, against LGD in fact, was that Jinx. But we'll see if he goes for a safer flavor here. He's rotating through the picks. We might even see him hover over an Urgot for a bit of fun. But there's a lot of opportunities left to him here on AD carry.
Yeah, we do have Jarvan and Sivir, the next two picks for Royal Club as well. EDG got a couple more seconds to lock in these particular picks, so we'll see what they want to go for. Again, they've played a lot around Deft, that carry, and they are going to go for very late game carry potential here. Jinx and Nunu, the picks there for Edward Gaming.
Feels a bit like a gambit to pick Jinx into already Gnar, Jarvan, and Sivir. I mean, you can see there's a lot of gap close available to get on that no escape Jinx, but it worked wonderfully well against LGD, a team, of course, who's done so well this season. They're going to keep adding CC here, Astahan Royal Cup, if they can lock up that Jinx, if they can really ensure that he's deleted. I mean, LeBlanc will just be even more deletion power right here. You can see that Deft has the tools to succeed. He has the Janna for disengage. He has the Nunu Blood Boil. It could be a massive Jinx, but you have to think the focus coming from Starhorn Royal Club, the play calling's being all about shutting down this Jinx.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as Royal have picked out the rest of their lineup. Azir for the mid lane and Braum in support are their last two picks. And we're going to see what EDG want for their last pick. Sort of interesting as well, they got Janna early. Mouse, the previous support, we have Meiko as a sub playing instead today. It seems like they have very polarizing support playstyles. Mouse, very aggressive, lots of engage. Meiko, lots of disengage.
And it's one of those situations where we have to start refining our terms because a sub has kind of a negative connotation to it, but Mouse was doing fantastically well on the Annies and the Threshes. The Thresh play in particular, he brought it out and was ban-worthy on that champion right here. But it feels like when they want to go for the disengaged champions, when they decide they're going to go for those protect the def comps, feels like Meiko's made for this team right here. He's going to play the Janna. The Lulu's picked up a half, and then it's going to be a mid Lulu right here. Two hyper carries. It could, of course, be a Lulu top, but two hyper carries and so much peel and support for them right here. It's a two-threat comp, but those threats are being really set up to succeed.
Yeah, Lulu was the last pick. Really is going to give Deft all of the tools he needs to carry on this Jinx. And we've seen Clearlove give him attention. His team now is going to give him even more attention. And Korol's on a big carrying Kassadin. This is a strong-looking EDG comp. This looks like their old all-Chinese team comps that they could have played here. But again, the upgrades here, playing fantastically with the team. This is pure late game once again.
But there was a very late swap at 5 seconds right there. It is Pawn who's going to be taking the Kassadin into the mid lane. It's going to be the top Lulu, so a bit more wave-clear flavor of that Lulu versus Gnar potential matchup. A lot of little intricacies to this matchup, a lot of strong champions out there. Obviously, the most unique of them is that Deft Jinx. If he's able to get that going, we've actually seen Jinxes struggle. I believe it was Tail who struggled to get those resets and get going on that Jinx pick. But Jinx versus Sivir, it's actually a fairly balanced matchup. Of course, you give the wave clear advantage to Sivir in the early game. But if Jinx can enter that lane with a BF sword after some lane swaps, very capable in that lane.
And we mentioned that Deft, he's not going to just be getting attention from his team here with the Nunu, with the Lulu as well, all protecting, and the Jonah as well. Massive PL support there. Royal are definitely going to try and kill this guy a lot. And the Clearlove strat of camper lane might be Insec strat as well. We've seen him try and kill Uzi a couple of times when they played OMG.
I mean, before the picks came out, I would say absolutely EDG and Clearlove are going to focus HYY. Now with the Jinx pick, that's going to be the gambit for Insec as well. So I expect some of those 3, 4, 5-man ganks in the bottom lane. So many fireworks if we see a 2v2 lane here, because AD carry is going to be really top of the list.
Well, let's see what happens, guys. We'll get into the game. And welcome everybody to our last series of the day here. Royal Club on the left here versus EDG in this best of 2. This is a big game for the standings here as well. Teams could really leapfrog their way up towards the points. We do start off with a quick pause here. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. And we mentioned a big match here between these two teams. EDG still playing classic EDG style. It seems like very late game, very team fight, very really good AD carry focused here. Deft's been playing amazing. Royal, they're still finding their identity, but finding wins even against top teams.
I mean, EDG are kind of varying up their style, though. They have had a lot more assertive mid-game play. In 2014, especially domestically, they were all about just looking for late game, almost like World Elite of years past in terms of really farming up for late game. Clearlove, he wouldn't have the impact in the lanes, but he would have the items in the late game team fight and the team fight mechanics, which has always been renowned for, to be really impressive in those fights. But more lately, Clearlove's been playing much more proactively. Even on the Nunu here, okay, he's probably not going to be ganking lanes too much, but if they can really get into the enemy jungle, they can really disrupt Insec, stop that shot caller, get on someone who's traditionally been known to have a bit of a fiery temper, he's a bit of an emotional player as Insec, then maybe they can open up space for their lanes to play safely here, allow Pawn to hit that power spike, get that early Rod of Ages, allow Deft as much space as possible to pick up that quick BF sword, set up the 2v2 lanes, and if Insec's behind and Clearlove's ahead, it's going to be a really good place for EDG.
Yeah, and Pawn's an important guy to get going as well. It's probably the other thing to mention about this new EDG lineup is that Pawn is just basically filled whatever roles needed to. He's completely fluid as a player, very versatile with the champion pool and the way he fights. He can go aggressive, he can go passive. He's been a big asset here for this Edward Gaming team as well.
And it was that new identity that Pawn saw at Worlds that really catapulted Samsung White to the forefront of everyone's minds when we talk about some of the best teams of all time, let alone the best teams of 2014. He went from that kind of assassin fizz player, that wave clear mid, much like Korn, actually reputation is right now and in the past, and really added so many champions to his pool. I believe he played unique champions in basically every game of Worlds, adding new champions to his pool, impressing everyone on those champions. And that flexibility is something that Edward Gaming has never had before. So to give them such a strong mid laner, it's a really exciting time if you're an Edward Gaming fan.
Yeah, we'll see Clearlove on Nunu. A champion he's played a couple of times in his competitive history. Not his most successful champion, I don't think, but we'll see what he can get done here. Not too sure what his LPL record currently is with this champion just from this season alone, but it's certainly going to support a lot of the EDG AD carry Deft, who has just been playing brilliantly.
There's been so many Nunu picks in the LPL recently. I feel like Nunu's one of those champions that kind of goes through peaks and troughs of picks. We saw that same with Shyvana many moons ago. There's always flavorful picks in junglers that really become meta picks and then start to fall away when tweaks happen with other junglers. But Nunu, he does one job and he does it well. He really annoys you, he gets in your face, and he gets those wards down with the early sight stone.
Yeah, so Insec going to start Krugs into red here. And it seems like Clearlove going to do the same, but it looks like Deft and meiko will actually start, over on the Grump there. So going to get a bit of an early advantage.
Yeah, using the shield, trading aggro right here. Of course, minigun allows them to get much more autos than most AD carries at level 1 here. We'll see how many creeps they lose in the bottom lane here. But any little advantage for a Jinx lane in a 2v2 against Sivir, going to be very welcome.
Yep, so nice little start there early on. Pawn definitely going to get pushed in towards his tower early on in this matchup as well, but he's not going to see us just fine harass Korn back here with his Q as well. And Pawn in general, pretty much any situation that he's been put in, he's come up pretty much ahead or even.
But he's kind of looking for his jungler Clearlove to relieve pressure as much as possible. Probably not through ganks, just because he doesn't really have the gank potential, does the Nunu. But if he can get in the face of Jarvan and stop and get those aggressive wards down and stop any early Insec ganks, obviously once Pawn can pick up that Rod of Ages, he'll start get going. Even if he just picks up the Catalyst for a bit of extra health and mana sustain, That's what he's looking for in these early levels.
Yeah, really strong harass in the top lane as well. Korol's Lulu has looked insane so far. Lulu in general, actually, in the hands of strong Chinese players, has been the same Lulu we remember. Very strong utility, but a really strong laning phase as well.
Absolutely. In terms of laning phase against a Gnar, she has so much more AoE clear that she's going to be able to hold the minion wave wherever she wants. So auto attacks are actually slightly stronger, even with when you factor in Hyper, because of the consistent damage from her passive. Down bottom lane, Deft's actually taking a bit of damage here. Probably will be able to get away.
Yeah, took a Winter's Bite. Ricochet thankfully does not proc the Braum passive, so Deft will farm out under his turret. But sort of expected for Jinx to have a hard time early on. As Insec now in his jungle, getting a little low, but he should be just fine here. Going to take away the Wolf Gap.
And that's kind of why I'm a little bit worried about this Nunu pick, just because look down the list of matchups here. The only champion who can realistically outpush his opponent is Lulu up the top lane here. Inevitably, Casson is going to be pushed in basically every matchup he's in the mid lane. In the bottom lane, it's only when the BF sword comes out and you can really start using those level 5 rockets rid of wave clear, but HYY's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Deft going in there. Zero taking a lot. Good double knock up there. The spell shield will actually just miss the NATO, but Deft will get a shield of his own and just force HYY out of lane.
And this is very important for Deft here, because now look, he has so much lane control because he's with the potion advantage, popping it here, going to have 200 to 300 health advantage, and it's that much more risky for HYY to push up without wards, even against a Nunu jungle here. So Deft being able to push in is actually a huge win, because as I said, it was only looking like Lulu who could really control the wave and give Nunu space to invade. If Deft can help that this early, massive win for EDG.
And so far in the LPL, very few AD carries in a region full of amazing bottom lanes have been able to consistently pressure people. Uzi's Caitlyn, maybe from yesterday, the biggest one there as well. Insec actually going to go in onto Pawn. A good knockup follows in there as well. Pawn holding on to his flash, so doesn't need to use it. Very calm there in the mid lane.
So cool under pressure. I'm sure you and I would have just instantly blown the flash there, but of course he's able to calculate the damage down to a T, backs away, and now he's just that much closer to level 6, and he has his flash up as well.
Yeah, and on Deft again here, still bullying Zero and HY back into this turret. I think Deft might be the only person in this current LPL season to actually have a solo kill in lane. I think he killed Vasily playing Ezreal in their matchup earlier on in the season. So Deft has definitely shown a lot of prowess in a region full of very strong AD carry players.
The only time we've seen Deft struggle was actually against Snake, and you remember Beast played a complete number on Deft that series. Deft was 0-4-0 in lane. We saw that at Worlds once, but it was even more pronounced in this series. And Deft just wasn't able to be the carry his team needed. But EDG is so confident in Deft. They will run Protect the Deft comps very regularly. They're doing it again right here. I mean, Deft, if you're talking about late game team fighters in the world, he's at least top 2, if not the best late game team fighting AD carry in the world. So have faith in the man you're paying so much money for.
Yeah, I mean, the other person we might say that about is Namei, who unfortunately is not playing today. But EDG going to start a very quick dragon here. Clearlove actually got some really good deep vision in towards the red side of Royal Club's jungle. Now we're going to start this up as well. The Jinx minigun helping out greatly. And this is going to be a very quick, very early dragon. Although Zero now going to look around to contest. They should be able to clean this out. But Zero, can he get any work done? There's Nunu for the dragon. Zero actually maybe has to back off now. Got to be careful. Unbreakable helping out a lot. The Cork does miss there. Snowball going to come in as well. Exhaust popped on now. Korol down here as well. And there's first blood to Deft.
And who better to have it than Deft right here? The teleport was blown. So, of course, Korol will be able to manipulate this top wave as he likes. But no CS going to be lost to the turret just yet. Korol's going to go on a bit of a roam. He's just going to try and probably harass Insec out of the jungle.
Yeah, actually, he's found him, I think, already. Insec very low. Korol with level 6 as well, but used his flash already, so can't quite chase it down. But they might even go for a dive down here. So Clearlove going to come in. HYY shot at the spell shield. Great Chompers place there as well. HYY getting tanked up. And meiko with a great turret dive, and Korol's going to get the next kill.
The turret juggling is excellent once here again. Actually, when we were watching Insec, he had the E applied to him. He had to juke, so the fancy feet stopped him from dying to the Q right there. But the turret dive is beautiful, and EDG, they're turning on the style right here. They've already opened up the 1,100 gold lead at 7 minutes.
And the Prophet Papa Smithy, Clearlove, is visiting the bottom lane again. He's found his new home with Deft. You know, it was closed for business before, but the resort is well and truly back open.
And the one thing that's been established back at Worlds, it was all about the romance between Reckless and Deft. The bromance right there. They were so respectful and so supportive of each other's play. The moment he got to China, Clearlove and Deft have been really close. And it's not a coincidence that Clearlove's always in the traditionally regarded as weak lane as Deft's lane, just relieving pressure early, getting him a kill in this case. He ends with a BF sword. He's actually going to have the wave clear advantage, maybe not instant wave clear, but wave clear advantage over time against this Sivir right here. And look, if you help Deft get to late game earlier, you're going to win a lot of games in League of Legends.
Look, if that's relieving pressure, I'll take Clearlove in my solo queue games any time of the week. That's 2 really strong ganks in the bottom lane to get them going here. And EDG, again, they've shown a punch-on for when they want to go in and pick on a player, they are very good at picking on someone.
Yeah, so across the map here, EDG looking great. Nunu's already got his side stone. You know he's going to be sauntering around and trying to get those wards down. Pawn's been able to farm so fantastically in the mid lane here. I love the aggression of the early blasting one. Gives him a bit more wave clear. I'm actually going to check the max on spells. It is, in fact, more points and the preference going into the force pulse here. Just to give him a bit more AoE wave clear. He knows he's going to be under turret, so he just needs enough points in queue to be able to trade, and the rest of the points going into force pulse for a bit of AoE wave clear.
Yeah, Korol has spotted up a pink ward, so he'll take that out. Clearlove going to get his own red buff here and hit level 6 off that as well, I believe. So Nunu ready to go. Good steal actually from Insec though. Steals away the blue buff there from EDG.
That's good decisive movement from a team that's clearly behind here, so it's good to see that from Insec. EDG don't seem too concerned about it right here. Nunu's actually coming into the mid.
Yeah, trouble actually could be in paradise there. Korn forced to flash up, does go off the ultimate. And that is going to be a kill. Nice moves there. Clearlove coming in just in time.
We don't often talk about the successful Nunu mid lane ganks. He's has a lot of trouble ganking that lane, given the fact that he has to saunter in slowly as a noble Yeti and get the snowball off. But it was successful.
Yeah, level 6 pawn there as well. Actually, level 8, I think, now. Easily able to clean it out. And it seems like they're going to steal away the blue buff now, so the blue trade will go through. And they will actually deny Korn the blue buff from Azir completely.
Yeah, I'm Deft down bottom doing some good trades as well. So Pawn does get a blue buff. He's going to go back, working towards his catalyst right here. Might already have the gold for it. Insect's kind of smelling around. Going to be very sad at the lack of blue buff coming through. But the Nunu pick's working so far.
It really is. This Kolar's actually wandered down as well. And towards the bottom lane. Could be some trouble there.
Yeah, we see some flashing health bars in the bottom lane, but no one falling just yet.
Yeah, just a bit of a trade. Deft a little low, but should be okay now. Kolar in towards the top lane as well. Just hanging out. Going to clean out some CS. 78 to 68, actually ahead of Korol after some early bullying. So not doing too badly here. And of course, we know it's all about those big Mega Gnar team fights.
And of course, worth mentioning that Korol used that teleport to get the gank kills down for the turret dive down the bottom lane as well. So to be only 10 CS, 15 CS behind isn't a big deal. And of course, Korol hasn't been able to use, Kolar hasn't been able to use that teleport to any great use in the bot lane.
Def might have to be careful. Does have the last passive proc, but actually still harassing with rockets. Really forcing Zero and HYO back yet again. It seems like a teleport coming down as well. Def now maybe in trouble here for Zero, but he's out of mana. The passive will go through, but Def gets the first kill. Kolar's actually the one that's come down. He's healed, but it's not enough to kill HYO, and a trade happens in the bottom.
In the transition, we see Pawn is actually being caught here as well. Very low.
Oh, he's super low. Does Riftwalk out. Clearlove going to try and get the kill. The Insect does smite him, but Korn's got a lot of damage there. Knock up there with the EQ, but Nunu will be able to walk away, so a lot of traded there. Pawn is safe though, and just a 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane.
Pawn's able to survive, working towards his Rite of Ages, about 700 gold, 500 gold away from that, sorry. I mean, that transition fine for EDG. We were talking about how Kolar hadn't been able to use the teleport advantage just yet. Was able to pick up a kill there, but importantly, Korol's teleport's just about back, and next Dragon, there will be no teleport available for that Gnar. Of course, the Gnar ultimate's so useful, the Mega Gnar transformation in a team fight around that dragon. They may have to sacrifice the second dragon as well, just because of that cooldown.
It seems like a late blue buff actually here for Royal. So Korn is actually going to pick up his boots. It's going to be a bit later than it would have been otherwise. So no steal did come out there from EDG. And Insec did counter jungle away the first blue from Pawn. So there's actually a decent amount of counter jungling on the Jarvan side here, not the Nunu.
I mean, that would traditionally, in this case, if you're denying Kassadin a blue buff, you might think that would be impactful in the CS values, but you look here, 87 to 81. Kassadin's winning CS in this lane, even though he went for the Force Pulse max, which of course makes his range trading that much weaker. Pawn is a wonderful, wonderful mid laner, but this is a very impressive lane score right here.
Yeah, he's going to return to his lane now. So with almost the roll finished, got a catalyst for his troubles, which he'll use now as well. So Rite of Ages on the way. Korol actually gets the tower here. Korol has to be careful. Mega Gnar is on the way. And Korol is going for the kill. Oh, that's a great knock up there for Korol. Denies the Gnar ult. He actually runs back in. Gonna fight him now. That's a lot of damage on the Korol. Hex Drinker pops in there as well. Korol can't really chase with that a little low on mana, but that was very nicely played.
Yeah, the timing on the knock up was wonderful there to stop any potential aggro coming in. Almost got the trade kill and still, of course, has flash and teleport available for any dragon. The dragon has respawned right now. We see both Kassadin and Nunu heading to the top of that objective. No real way for Starhan Royal Club to contest this, barring a mystical Insec steal.
Yeah, and a big CS lead down in the bottom lane as well for EDG. Deft 20 plus CS ahead. Actually got early Berserker Greaves, which will make this Dragon that much easier in minigun form. Pink wards are down here. Insec might go in, but Clearlove's just going to take it away with the Nunu, and EDG get their second straight Dragon.
Yeah, that's the Consume Smite combo. There are 3 points in that Consume, so a massive burst of damage coming out from that ability. But up top,
Korol in trouble. Kohler does get the kill there, and really nice outplay under that turret.
Kohler 1v1ing, getting 1v1'd by Korol. That's a massive thing for Kohler right there. Going to put his confidence so sky high that by far the top performing top laner, he has outperformed in that particular 1v1. Very nice play from Kohler.
Yep, Zero actually in a bit of trouble getting knocked up there by Meiko. It looks like the Janna going in. Pawn now down here as well. Edgewise in a whole host of trouble with Insec. Going to come back in here now. Pawn going to switch targets over to Insec. The Boomerang Blade comes in. Insec is going to die back in. A good ult there for Clearlove though. He's going to pop it. Doesn't do quite enough damage. And Deft throw its hit ulti as well. Insec very low but not dead. Korol has ported down here as well. And EDG may only get a turret out of that.
Yeah, 5-man strong as this. They already picked up the Dragon. The teleport comes through. They still pick up another structure. They grow their gold lead. It's only 1,500, so not much more than the earlier 1,100 gold lead right here. But very importantly for them, they had 2 very unfavorable lane matchups. Kassadin versus Azir and Jinx versus Sivir. And they're actually up 10 CS or more in both those lanes.
Yeah, really impressive performance from EDG's 2 carries, and that really is this team that they put together. It is Pawn and Deft doing practically everything on the damage department for EDG's fight here. And so far, they're off to a great start. That is good news for the late game EDG comp.
Yeah, the Rod of Ages will come in right now for Pawn right here. So about 25 minutes when we're going to see the full power of that item unleashed. Would not be surprised to see the Zonias come out, but he could go for more of a damage route just because he has so much shield and supporting from the other 3 members right here. It'll be interesting to see whether he goes for the melee range engages and gets that Zonias, or whether he just goes for sheer damage and hopes that the rest of his team can be the peel he needs.
Yeah, Meiko actually here as well. Royal going to push in and try and go for a tower. Do get it. Deft actually firing rockets in, but Korn with really strong harass there out. Good Q lands there. So Kohler going to turn it around. Pawn is around the side. Clearlove in as well. Pawn getting very aggressive there with his harass, but EDG will lose that turret and just kind of back away, it seems like.
Gonna have to be very careful here. Deft doesn't have Infinity Edge right here because he spent so much money on those boots too. It does help him get those extra rockets in once he starts hitting them, but he doesn't have quite the same potential burst damage from an early crit.
Yeah, we'll have to see as Royal going to maybe continue pushing it. Got a tower for themselves already, 2 for 1 actually, in terms of towers. And the gold lead very thin. EDG only up about 1,000 gold. They've been up since the early stages of this game. Pawn rotating down to the bottom, looking for level 11 now on his Kassadin. But we'll just clean out a bit of farm. And EDG seems like they want to group and try and take some of these outer turrets.
Worth knowing that they have 2 very early dragons right here. So of course the 5th dragon timer, should they be able to monopolize that objective, is going to be quite early in the game, around 30 minutes you'd have to think there. So they're working towards the 3rd dragon. That's the one I imagine Starhorn Royal Club will have to put their hands up to contest. Particularly they should have at least evened up the teleport summoner spell right there. But they've got that mid-game comp and they need to start using it here, Starhorn Royal Club. They're not necessarily weak in the late game, but if you let a Jinx get to late game with a CS advantage, I mean, look at this, a 35 CS advantage over HYY. We've praised HYY's performance so far in the LPL. He's done very capably, especially against some of the lower tier AD carries in the league. But this is Deft, you know, probably top 3, almost in a cakewalk. So it's going to be much more difficult for him here.
Yeah, we'll see Clearlove and Pawn actually on a bit of an adventure here through the enemy jungle. Have found Kohler there, who does pop out of Mega Now form. And again, really strong deep vision coming out from EDG early on. Trying to set up maybe a pick here or just make sure they have space around the objectives they're looking to take. Def will actually back off now as well from that mid lane. Clearlove, again, going to clear up my wards. Korol is still back in towards the top as well. Very gold efficient build here actually for him.
And Zero has some smart wards down here, but I don't see any pink wards coming into the inventories of Starhorn Royal Club right here. That's something they need to work on. Just because they know they're against a double Sightstone comp right here, so they need to get that pink ward down. So they at least know where they have exclusive vision, because right now, it's very minimally across the map.
And Pawn actually getting a lot of the empty lane farm in the long lane where they knock down the tower in the bottom. So kind of curious to see that, you know what, we're going to give Pawn a lot of space here. It's very easy for him to farm a longer lane because of Riftwalk, and I like the EDG are moving around and making sure both their carries get the farm they need.
I mean, it's important to note that Korol doesn't have his teleport right here, so having a high mobile champion in the off lane makes a lot of sense to match Kohler's teleport that he has here. And luckily from Starhorn Royal Club's perspective, because this is a double AP comp, Kohler has itemized very well to be able to stand up to Kassadin in this 1v1.
Yeah, we'll have to see Kohler in Mega now, just clearing out some creeps here towards the bottom side of the map. Dragon back up in a minute 15. So EDG, whose Dragon Control has looked incredible in basically all of the games, especially ones, of course, where they've won. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had a shutout here, but Royal Club need to find a spot to fight.
And EDG really need to get the wards down right here because they're going to have to buy time for Korol. Korol probably won't have Dragon up, his teleport up for Dragon, or if he does, it will be at the exact second of Dragon. He will have to port basically at the time that Dragon spawned. He's going to try and get the split push going up the top lane here. Very close, probably going to get this objective, but Azia's there to protect it.
Yep, Insec is wandering around trying to get vision of his own. Deft, meiko, and Clearlove all running through here. After sense taking, Clearlove will sense a ward, does find it, will deft and clear out that pink ward from the tribe, which again, EDG trying to really retain the vision advantage they have in this game. Korn's actually in the top lane now. He doesn't have a teleport and Dragon's up in 25 seconds, but someone has to stop Korol from pushing in the top tower.
EDG are very fast in their rotations with the Janna, grouping with Nunu, Blood Boil applied on Deft. He's very fast right here. He has a significant item advantage on HYY with the boots too, and of course the extra crit. So he's in a very good spot in terms of damage. But this is where Starham Royal Club want to be. They want to have Kola up top splitting against Korol. They both have teleport available. We should see a really big fight around this third Dragon.
Yeah. In second, the rest of the Royal Club do need to contest this Dragon here. So we'll see what they can get done. EDG do start it up, unafraid here, clearing out the wards. Teleport already coming in for Kola, sorry. And Insec's going to go straight in there. Clearlove going to pop the ulti. Deft actually in a whole lot of trouble. Gets Knight into the wall, and Kola just takes him out. Now Pawn trying to get more damage done on the backside, but he'll riff walk out of the way. And Royal, that was a very clean initiation. Deft completely caught out.
I have no idea what Korol was doing during that fight. His teleport came in basically at the same time that Deft died. Such a reactionary teleport, and then cancelling that ability. Very questionable play by someone who's been so wonderful before this series.
And Pawn has found Kola again, not really who he wanted in the enemy jungle. Korn will actually ult him back there. Pawn's now got nowhere to go practically. Riftwalk he can find there. Insec going to go over, but Kola takes him out for the double.
And the minimum is this upper turret right here, and you see that Korol continues to push in, but very, very strange was that previous play. I'm not sure what the comms were like there. Must have been an indecisive call, I'd have to say, just because Deft died for free.
Yeah, with his flash up as well. That's not normally how this goes. That's not the comp EDG built either, but the initiation from Royal just forced straight onto that hyper carry.
Yep. So they're going to have to back away. They've lost their early objective snowball right here. Of course, the third Dragon would have been so massive in their rotations right here with Janna and Nunu's Blood Boil. That extra 5% MS would have made them lightning fast around the map. But they'll have to regroup. It's not a huge loss, of course, not a big gold injection coming in. There's still about 1,000 gold, just kind of been the consistent gold lead as we went forward here. Lulu's really piling on the ability power. It's going to be the 40% CDR death cap Lulu, which makes a lot of sense. She's going to be focusing much more on having just sheer AP for her shields and her ultimate rather than any sort of damage Lulu build.
Yep, Kola here farming through as well. Actually got a decent CS lead. Spirit Visage is done for the Nara as well, so recognizing all the magic damage threats here. And Wolf eventually frontline Deft, but probably not too worried about how that's going to go out. And EDG is still trying to take out this mid lane turret. That would have been a very useful space to have already cleaned out once that next Dragon rolled around.
Absolutely. It's why whenever we watch an OMG game, we're talking about how they love that penchant for taking the 3 turrets so they can get exclusive vision and get picks. Although it's not a pick comp coming out from EDG, any sort of space they can buy for their double sight stone members to really get into the enemy jungle and start being able to contest buffs, that's what EDG want to be doing at this point.
Yeah, that slip in Dragon Control, quite uncharacteristic of EDG, but we'll see how they regroup towards the next fight. Royal farming up as well. EDG still trying to get some of their late game going as well. Deft does have a Zeal completed already. We mentioned the Rabadon's almost done for Korol as well. And a Morella Nomicon was actually the next item there for Pawn.
It's a very offensive choice from Pawn. It makes sense again as they have so much support on their other members right here. There will be Zhonya's eventually, but no rush just now for it to get it on Pawn. He's about 3 minutes away from maxing out that Rod of Ages. Around Dragon time, that will be when he's looking really strong.
Yeah, it helps that Lulu can temporarily turn him into a frontliner as well if they need to. As actually Kola has found Pawn, but Clearlove's going to join Nara as well. Does good Nara ultimate into the wall. Actually, Pawn going to run in for the damage. The Absolute Zero is going to pop. Meiko's down here as well, and that's going to kite around the mini Nara, and there's a good kill for Pawn.
But so many people have been sent to the bottom lane here. The SHRC Starham Royal Club were able to push so aggressively in the mid lane here. They weren't quite able to make that make EDG pay in terms of an objective on the map right here, but they're at least resetting minion wave control.
Yep, Def going to clear things out. Jinx very good both on offense and defense as far as wave clear goes, so not too much hassle there, but Royal are trying to keep up with EDG around this map, but it still feels like Clearlove is just getting ahead and getting the wards down. The double side stone really paying dividends for Edward Gaming.
And the CS advantage for Deft is not shrinking as this game goes on. It's already 50 CS basically is the advantage right here as we see Sivir clearing out a few minions on the way. It's a massive advantage for a hyper carry over the mid-game focused Sivir.
Yeah, minigun coming out. Rockets now for Deft. He really wants to tower. And look at those shields from Janna and Lulu onto that AD carry.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, very much so. Surprising that Royal actually killed him in the last fight, but I guess they didn't expect the damage and the massive ult that came out. The mid tower finally going to go down, though. Actually, Deft could be in trouble. Does take it out, gets excited, and is able to easily get away.
When on 40% cooldown reduction, two people can put on about 500, 600 health worth of shields. Nunu's happy to tank a couple of turret hits. They actually have a surprisingly good siege comp with just 2 ranged auto attackers here, and of course the Janna as well. Just because Deft can take so many turret hits and then hit from that rocket form at 700 range.
Yep, and now Pawn down the bottom. Still split pushing actually on this cast and has found HYY. Maybe Sivir's not going to like this very much. Pawn considering going in, it seems like down the bottom. HYY will take the Krug. Pawn not even attempting to steal it. Going to be very patient, going to try and get the kill. Has to bait out a spell shield at least once. Rocket actually come through. I think Deft was hoping to add to the damage. HYY's like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore.
There was definitely no language barrier issue. That was a Pawn and Deft call. It was Pawn saying, I'm going in, and Deft trying to give a little bit of help from downtown. The alley-oop did not work there, though.
May have actually cost Pawn a kill, though, as Sivir was able to pretty easily identify what was going on, and Pawn will retreat back. Go back to base now, actually. Got himself a need to see large rod, so doing very well on this cast, and even a pink word for his trouble as well.
Yeah, no, just about to tab over to that 10 stacks coming out of the Rod of Ages. Definitely the full efficiency coming out of that item. So important on Caston because, of course, his ultimate now only has a mana ratio, so really maxing out that mana. No tier build here. Of course, we saw Dade picking up the late tier for that mana ratio. That's kind of been one of his penchants. He even did that back at the Spring OGN final and picked up a late tier, and it paid off for him there. But most people consider that too greedy a build right now. It's usually either the CDR or straight Zhonya's second.
Yeah, and Pawn back down to the bottom. He's still farming here as his cast on 191 to 181, so only 10 CS ahead, but has been given so much space by his team here. And EDG really putting a lot of eggs into these two carries. I mean, Korol's fine. He's got his death count now to help do damage and support the team, but really from EDG's standpoint, at least as far as damage is concerned, this is all about the Pawn and Deft.
Absolutely. It's the burst coming out from Kassadin, and then, of course, Deft's consistent damage. It quite amuses me that we see Deft and his friend Nunu walking around the map together here. Best friends forever, Clearlove and Deft.
Walking around the map.
I mean, Janna comes to join the party as well. Lulu has a say. There's so much synergy between those carries, but they have to be careful because if Deft ever gets eliminated, oh boy, they really do lack the damage.
Yeah, we saw what happened. That Dragon fight went horribly wrong very quickly there for EDG. And Dragon is up right now. So Edward Gaming have some choices to make. Can they get this next Dragon? It'll be their third and a very important one it would be. But Royal are definitely ready to fight.
Yeah, everyone's in position here. Of course, Korol can use teleport, but is walking down right here. Of course, the teleport. Deft died during the teleport last time, so maybe he's thinking, all right, I need to be in position, but he is cut off from the team.
Yeah, has to be careful. Korol can't quite make it in towards the Dragon Pit, so going to clear out mid instead and maybe try and get a little bit of pressure. Pinkward found by Royal, though they take that out towards the side brush, and Korol has even fewer options in terms of pathing. Pawn actually is flanking almost behind the Dragon, maybe trying to close the trap here. Korol going the long way around the top as well.
I mean, Pawn wants to get on top of Korn here. He wants to get on top of Azir and try and burst him out and stop any sort of locus of control of those Sand Soldiers coming down. That's where Azir is strongest, when he has space to control, but if he can move him away and force him to use his flash defensively, EDG have a much better shot.
Clearlove, can he steal it? No, driving gets it. That's two apiece now. Insec in a dive in. Clearlove gets knocked up there as well. Deft is firing away, and Clearlove is actually very tanky now. Pawn going to dive in. There's the first kill onto Zero. Now going to chase around HYY in so much trouble there as Pawn goes in. There's the double kill for Caston, and Cole are going to go down there. Clearlove still alive. Pawn looking for a quadra kill now as well, and does get it. And EDG wipe the floor with Royal Claw.
Pawn was basically a one-man frontline on that bursty Cassid, and he did so much work. We, of course, were watching mostly Deft in the backline there. He spent a long time. He was eventually able to DPS down Kohler. At the same time, the rest of Starhorn Royal Club exploded.
Yeah, what a great team fight there for EDG. Clearlove living as well with so many shields on top of him. You can just see how synergistic the EDG combos. Clearlove comes back into the Baron now to consume it. The shield's back up for himself as well, and that's an easy Baron for EDG. What a way to take some objectives.
I mean, Nunu has 2,600 health before the shield start. We'll see the replay right here and just how much space Nunu's able to control. They almost burst down Nunu, and this would have been a different fight if they were able to. But he stays alive, and in the backline, watch Pawn rift in here. He does so much damage to the backline. He kills HYY instantly. We're focused on Deft right here, but Pawn's the one doing all the damage in the front line. It seems like Starhorn Royal Club, they identified their target. It's Deft. They couldn't get on top of him, and Pawn reaped the reward.
And for all the praises we can sing of Pawn as a player, I think his team fighting prowess as a mid laner has to be the #1 thing. And if that's what you're good at as a mid laner, you join probably the best team in the world.
And look, EDG were a team that were dominant in China. They were ahead of the meta in China. No other team really could hold a candle to them last year. Adding Pawn, a world's ready person who already has that world's bracelet under him, who's been playing so well, has so many different champions, and can really open up new strategies for EDG. This is a team ready to compete on the world scale.
Yeah, credit to Meiko, by the way. That was one hell of a monsoon in that dragon fight as well. EDG used terrain so intelligently around the dragon pit as well. And EDG still firing on all cylinders. 7,000 gold and counting now in the lead. And this is the EDG we know and love, I guess. They're not the same team from China last season, but again, with the Korean imports, they simply look like a faster, better, just a more efficient machine.
It's a newly improved EDG. It's been refined. It's got some of the similar flavor. It's got a bit of a new tunings in the mid lane. But man, I don't know about you, but this makes me super excited for the eventual EDG-OMG matchup.
I don't think about that right now as EDG going down towards the tower. Pawn going to get aggressive there onto HYY and poke him out. Actually, Deft going to follow in there as well. Good ult there coming through for Zero. Going to hit onto 2 people, but Pawn still cutting around the side. Zero almost dead alone there. Pawn goes straight in there with a flash. Gets HYY for the double there as well. And now Cassidon's going to wreak havoc in the back corner. Ulti's in back, but Insec's going to get destroyed by Deft there as well. 3 clean kills for Zero. EDG going to blow down the base.
Pawn is doing disgusting things in the front line. He has the Zhonya's completed here. Importantly, in that quadra kill, he didn't even have Zhonya's. He didn't need it. In this case, he didn't need it either. It's just a bit of extra flavor for him here. And Starhorn Royal Club, there's nothing they can do against a rampaging EDG.
Should have bought Deathcap. Pawn just deletes Korn off the map, and now going in. A good knock up there for Korol. Nothing he can do. Mini Nafon gets chucked in the chompers. Does bounce into his turret. Right into the fountain. Zero back in there with him as well. But EDG with the Jinx here just going to tear down the base of Royal Club. And what a way to win. Game 1 goes directly to EDG.
Unbelievable victory there for EDG. We've put so much focus on Deft. All right, they're going to unlock the potential of Deft. He's going to have so much support. I mean, this is Deft. He didn't even manage a third AD item because it didn't matter, because this Cassidon, Pawn was doing disgusting things. That's probably the strongest Cassidon we've seen in the LPL this season. And that's a huge statement given how much power we've seen from that champion. But Pawn was a frontliner, Pawn was an assassin, Pawn was everything EDG needed.
And that's Pawn as a player in a whole. Completely fluid, incredibly versatile, and just a joy to watch.
So we'll go to a replay just to see some of the excellent team fighting we saw in this particular series. We're going to be at the Dragon, so this is about midway through this game, so play this one out. It's towards the end. We're watching right here. DPS down. The Dragon's actually taken by Insec. That's a massive advantage. They EPS onto Clearlove, which obviously isn't the ideal thing. You see the Absolute Zero comes in. It zones so much space. Korol instantly is Mikhail's right here. And we're watching Deft at the forefront of our screen slowly kill through Korol, but all the action's happening in the front. Quadra kill for Pawn. He was massive already at that stage. He added a bit more AP to him, and he was instantly killing Korn, and that's scary.
And we wondered, Royal Club maybe a little hamstrung right now without Namei. Still looking good, but in that game, EDG just looks so good. Team fighting still in prec. Everything looking good. Koreans firing on all cylinders. A joy to watch.
It feels like they've solved the early game. And an EDG with a good early game, given how good their late game team fighting always has been, it has not changed with the new members. Scary.
Well, EDG can rocket through the standings if they win here as well. Can they take